And hello. Welcome. This is Matt Man. This is my buddy Scott. Don't call him Snyder. We are here. Too sweet. This is our first podcast. This podcast, episode 1 of Comic Bros. That's the working title we're going with. Comic Bros. Two bros talking about comics and other things, but mainly comics. Scott, tell them a little about yourself.
Well, I am still a novice in the comic world, but I am avid reader and slowly gaining more and more interest and knowledge on the subject. Also, I like cool shit and I do cool shit with my friends.
Hood rat shit.
Hood rat shit, bro.
But yeah, so the way we really bonded in our friendship was through comics, hence why we're doing this podcast late at night. For me, on my time, it's tomorrow. For you, it's in the past. But we're not going to talk more about that. We're going to talk more about comics. So what we thought here for the first episode, we do a list of the top 3 artists that we subjectively like. This does not mean that this artist is the best in the world or the worst. It's just that
Strictly
we...
opinions.
What's up?
Strictly opinions.
Strictly opinions. If you like it, let us know. If you don't, we don't care because we like it. And we want to share it so much that we're doing a podcast about it. So we're doing 3 top lists of the top 3 artists, writers, and comics that we read in 2017. So let's start it off with the top 3 artists. My number 3 artist that I really enjoy is Ryan Stegman. Ryan Stegman right now is doing a book called Renew Your Vows, Spider-Man. So basically, the reason I love Ryan Stegman is he was literally meant to draw Spider-Man. The way that his pencils move around, there is no straight lines in a good way. And I mean, like, every line is organic. And also his use of panels and his use of faces and things like that. Look at this. This is gorgeous.
Those are
You
some
see
jelly.
that?
Look at that.
Yeah. And he sometimes writes this, but he mostly draws it. He's also doing now the Venom Agent or the Venom Inc. storyline. But I really fell in love with his Amazing Spider-Man. And like when I think of comics and fun, I think of Ryan Stegman. It's just a light, enjoyable drawing style. Nothing dark, nothing heavy. It's just right. And one of my favorite things that he did with Spider-Man is that there's this one panel where Spider-Man, his daughter, and Mary Jane are having breakfast, but like because they're all have spider powers, they're like flipping pancakes around. But she's like running around like at the speed of light, catching all these pancakes with her powers. So he has like little tiny boxes all over the place of the little tiny movements. He's like an animator with still pictures. So number 3, Ryan Stegman. Who's your number 3, Scott?
Well, I'm gonna go ahead and be the yin to your gang and hit you with Sean Murphy.
That's my dude.
Dude, he's the man, and Tokyo Ghost is just everything right now to me. And it's just the exact opposite of why I love him. I love heavy, dark shit. I want to see something depressing. I want to go to bed just going, fuck, what did I just see? What did I just read? It's nuts. And it's his lines are so crisp, but it's also the blurriness of them and what he does in action sequences of making you feel the movements.
Oh
I
yeah.
mean, you can really sense movement, and especially in Tokyo Ghost, there's a lot of we've discussed it before. He's in love with vehicles,
Oh my God, yeah.
so him on motorcycles, these guys moving around. Let me see if I can find. Did I send you? Yes. Yeah. It's a shame that this thing is only 2 parts, but yeah, everything about it has just been. I mean, we're going with a classic death race. I mean,
Oh
post
my God, look at that. That
Utopia, it's just something special. I mean, and then Like you can tell that guy's going fast and he doesn't give a shit about what's going on around him. I
He
mean,
literally looks like steampunk samurais met Mad
robot,
Max.
yeah, with a dose of robo addiction, like
Yeah.
entertainment out. He's just plugged in, and I love that because I want to see illustrators that aren't afraid to take it a little far. Show you a little bit more than is considered appropriate, or like just some obscene shit. Like show me the dark side of humanity's creativity. And that's what they do, especially in Tokyo Ghost, because there are some scenes in it. There's some great panels. I mean, one of the great scenes that illustrate just how fucked up the world has gotten in this, dystopia is the president of the society is just sitting there getting his Johnson worked on by a reporter, and the lines are just like stark, stark, and you see everything, but at the same time, it's kind of just like it's poignant in how it displays him as like this vulgar, vile, you know, unattached man that he's left the world in a lot of senses, but at the same time, he's still getting his sick jollies off, and it's just you can see it, and then at the same time, it brings back the light, some hope, because the way he draws the main character, the antagonist, it kind of gives you the sense of like, okay, there's still that little bit of light left, and he brings that with it, like and then they do a good job with the coloring. I think that's Hollingsworth. Yeah,
Yeah,
Matt
he also
Hollingsworth.
works with Hollingsworth. He's now doing Batman White Knight, and Hollingsworth is doing the colors on that too. And I think they're doing a fantastic job.
Yeah, what they can do together by just they really have a nice combination of emotion through the color on top of what Murphy's laying down,
Yeah,
and it really resonates through. I mean, you have these glowing fades or like really rich blood, and
yeah.
it's like, I
It's
mean,
like a
that's
neon blood almost, right?
yeah, yeah. I mean, especially in this, I mean, it's a super neon society.
Yeah, a
Yeah,
glitzy,
yeah.
glitzy
It's your
motor
standard.
oil neon.
It's Blade Runner.
Yeah.
It's heavy Blade Runner. You're gonna see these '80s futuristic, postmodern. This is what the world looks like if we take everything to the extreme. You're
Oh yeah,
plugged into
totally.
your ATM. It's everything we fear in 1984.
I
So
like it.
that's my number trace.
All right, moving on to number two. Going off the darkness, but in a light way, I'm going with Greg Smallwood.
Yeah, giggity.
I fell in love with Greg's pencils and also pretty much, and
It's
a shout
Smallwood.
out to Jordi Belair. She's an amazing colorist. She is on some of the best books out there right now. Jordi, if you're listening to us,
We love
love
you.
to you. You literally light up the world. But like the thing with Smallwood, he the way he chokes, like here, the way he look at this. This is his run on Moon Knight, and the way he draws people. I know for a fact that he's using photo references, and a lot of the faces and the people kind of look similar because he's probably using his self from the photo, but that's not bad at all. The way he does it, it's just, especially the way that he drew this. Like you could
Everything
definitely
needs to be
see,
freehand. Not everything needs to be completely off the top of the
yeah.
head. I mean,
And when you're coming off of reality, it's so good. But his use of white space, you see that?
yeah,
All that down.
that bottom panel, and then how he
Yeah.
folds in from the top panels, it
And
kind
then
of
like
flows down.
how he uses the panels here to make a giant exclamation point.
Yeah,
Let me see if there's another. And also like these little circle panels. Gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. But he's all his covers are fantastic. They literally like before this I knew of Moon Knight. I liked Moon Knight, but his covers alone made me want to not only buy this entire run, but to collect them all because he is just so good at making an image
what a
and
segue.
making it interesting. Why, you got a good cover guy? Ooh, who you got there, Scott? Who's your
Jump
number
to
two?
eternity, and this is Let me just make sure. Yeah, Jerome Opena, who
Jerome.
this is my first encounter with the man, but Rick
Yeah.
Remender is an all-time favorite with writing, and this guy has just been putting in the work. I mean, talk about this is Seven to Eternity, and the cover itself was what drew me in, and then
What about the cover drew you in?
I mean, like it's just rich colors, but it's not just sharp. It's not sharp lines. There's something that kind of blends, but you can still make out distinct shapes. I mean, he has a good way of everything kind of flushes into the background, but at the same time, you have these rich characters coming to the foreground. I mean, a great instance is you look at this motherfucker over here, main antagonist, but he blends into the back. The blues kind of go into the background, but it's the eyes that come out.
Yeah, he's ominous.
Yeah, so he's kind of in the background, but he's ever present. He's this
Oh yeah.
omnipresent character, and that plays to what's going on in the story because he's the Mud King.
Yeah.
He's this weaver of lies, and he's constantly on everyone's mind because he is the ever present doom and gloom. Something wicked this way comes, and that's this guy. He is something wicked, and he's coming this way, and that's the story is his super slow, gradual takeover of this world and the few outskirt towns that are kind of putting up some fight, but not really. They're kind of just biding time until they make the deal. And I think that's what this cover does a great job of because he's in the background and he's blending into this dark sky, but at the same time, there's his eyes because you fucking know he's there.
Yeah.
And that's what drew me in. Also, the visuals. I mean, give
What's
a
the
guy
interiors look like? Can we see some of those?
yeah. I mean, you start off right off the bat with a hunting scene with a pig. I gotta get better light, but I
Yeah, I
mean,
could see that. Oh, is that? Yeah, it's his jaw.
yeah. So it's an infection, it's a
Ooh.
mutation, and then let me see if I can go into. So it does this, and it's more of what I talk about with this great idea of blending color, but at the same time distinct, making your characters distinctively stand out. And he does such a good job of blending that in. And here's a fantastic scene of that, where you have this Pied Piper villain.
Ooh.
That's
Yeah, dude. I saw this splash page on previews and I
yeah.
wanted to get into it, but I've been too busy reading Batman like an asshole.
Hey, dude, everyone reads Batman like an asshole. It's Batman. He makes you an asshole because you have to read Batman.
Yeah, pretty
Because
especially if there's Batman, there's All-Star Batman, there's Metal, there's Detective Comics, you know what I mean?
there's everything. Dude, there's fucking Hasbro Batman.
God,
I
Jesus
mean,
Christ. I mean, if you guys haven't realized, Scott and I really really like Batman. As you could probably tell by my amazing shirt, Booyakasha Metal.
dude, fucking metal.
But yeah,
Because
all right.
Batman, I mean, when we get down to brass tacks, he's the James Bond of comics. Every guy wants to be him. Every girl wants to be with him. Who doesn't love some Batman? Bruce Wayne, Playboy.
You know who
Batman,
doesn't love Batman?
the
Marvel
Dutch.
Comics. That's who doesn't love Batman.
You know why? Because they're
Because that's the one guy they can't have.
they can't beat him.
No, they can't. They
Oh
could
man,
try all they want with Tony Stark, but he's not Batman.
there's nothing. Well, I think they've almost transitioned from Tony onto Captain America. I think they've
He's
switched
a
hands.
steroid monkey with a flag.
I've loved Chris Evans' turn.
Oh no, don't get me wrong, but I mean like the character is a
Oh yeah,
giant steroid monkey that is an American flag that
You really gonna tell me though that Bruce Wayne, this man with the world, literally at his fingertips, and all the technology in the R&D department of Wayne Enterprises, isn't juicing? Really, Larry? You're
Well,
not
in the
juicing, Larry?
90s in the 90s they had a whole series Venom, which is the precursor to Bane because then they used the serum Venom
Yeah.
from that comic to create, oh yeah, well, we're killing Superman. Let's break Batman's back. Who's going to do it? A guy on Venom. Why? Because steroids are bad.
Yeah. But
But moving on to number one, my opinion, the best. Well, I want to give a shout out to Oliver Capel. I want to give a shout out to Declan Shalvey. I want to give a shout out to
My
Chris
mom.
Samey, who's actually working on um, Chris Samey, he's working on, or Sami, it's got two E's at the end. He's working on Captain America now, right now, and it's amazing. But my number one, especially for 2017, this man is the hardest working guy in comics. We all know they all are. Mitch Gerards, Mr. Miracle.
You're Mr. Miracle. Yeah, yeah, I was waiting for when he'd pop up.
But he also does certain Batman issues because him and Tom King are like best buds.
So what's bringing him to your top spot? What's giving him the goal for you?
Do you know how hard it is to do 9 panels for 26 pages?
Matt, I don't have a lick of artistic bone in my body, so no, I don't.
This man is literally drawing 9 drawings a page for 26 pages in little tiny boxes, and his pacing is immaculate. And also, with the 9 panels, you literally get the movements in between of like there's a scene where the new gods are sentencing Mr. Miracle to death, but there's a fruit basket in the middle of the room, or there's like a little like carrot tray, and he's like, "I sentence you to death," and then they're just standing there, and then he looks at the carrots, he takes a carrot, he puts it in the thing, he eats the carrot, and he's like, "Your sentencing is in 2 weeks," and then he's eating the carrot, and it's new God, it's literal God sitting in a room eating carrots and ranch, but also the way he uses and abuses the materials, the way he definitely uses a digital process in the way that he blurs things
Yeah.
and the way that he colors things. But
Let me ask you, Matt, would you say with your artistic background that you look more at technique? Like I assume my influences for my order is more based on the emotional um, draw I get from the artist and from what they're doing. And it seems like you have this higher appreciation of what skill it actually takes. I mean, the 9 images on a page for 26 pages. You talk about like how hard it is to get some of these images to come out, the techniques he's got to know. They get the
oh yeah,
digital scrubbing. As for me, I'm just like, yeah, I just love how you get this feel,
oh yeah,
which you obviously do get. I mean, we all that's what everything is when we read comics is how does it make us feel? Do we
yeah.
get you jived up about it? But do you think because you have an artistic background, you almost have more of a more appreciation towards technique, and that kind of drives what you love? You look for that more. You have a higher standard.
For me, if like I get that initial, oh my god, that looks great, it makes me feel like when I see Superman busting out of a window or busting out of a like a cave and like going like shooting into the sky, that makes me want to go, yeah, I love that. But then after the initial, oh my god, I love this image, for me, I look at, okay, how did they do this? And if it's something simple but they it works, like a Tim Sale, well, I mean, that's probably a bad example. What he does is not simple. But I mean, if it's like a few lines that work, like take example someone like Kyle Starks. Um, the way he draws things, it's very simple, but it works for what it does because a lot of what he does is breaking down the fourth wall. A lot of what he does is making fun of things, but
Yeah.
it works in such a great way. But if you get to someone like a Brian Boland in The Killing Joke, where it's photorealism, but for Mitch Gerards, he literally makes me want to. First of all, I take in what I'm viewing, and then it makes me ask, okay, how did he do that? And I'm really drawn to things on how they're done. I
Yeah.
really like the process of creating imagery, of creating literal worlds that you could live in
So
on
that
a
doesn't even that thought doesn't cross my mind.
yeah,
Having zero artistic background, I don't even think about like the layering of going from penciling to coloring to putting down the digital work on top of
yeah.
that. And that's what's great hearing from you is you actually bring that to my attention of going, oh my god, like yeah, that penciling's great, but then like look at the scrubbing he's done, look at the color they laid on top of it, and then look at the
Oh yeah.
how
How
he's worked it
long
back.
that takes, but he had
Gives you
probably
such an
did it.
appreciation.
Yeah, he probably did it in half the time with a not. I'm not going to call him tricks because tricks is something a whore does for money. The 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 way he goes about it, his process to me, for me, it's like the way you get better at drawing is you draw something 100 times and you figure out each time you draw it, you figure out 2 seconds to do it faster. So the first time you do a drawing might take an hour. If you draw that same drawing 100 times, by the 100th drawing, you can literally do it in like a minute.
Yeah, like driving a car somewhere. After
Yeah,
you've driven there once or twice, you don't need the GPS. You figure out these little
exactly.
shortcuts. It's figuring out,
It's
oh, if I
problem
take
solving.
this around this time, I can skip the traffic here and get on the on ramp and miss everything, all the lights.
Oh yeah, it's problem solving, and in my opinion, Mitch Gerards is an amazing problem solver because Tom King, literally every time they work on a book, like Sheriff of Babylon, Batman, or Mister Miracle, Tom King literally says, "Are you doing 9 drawings a page? Because one, I know you can, and two, you're gonna knock it out of the fucking park because you're awesome. Love you guys. All right, who's your number one?
Uh, and I know it's not a 2017 book.
No, that's all right. That's fine. That's fine.
I discussed this earlier. Uh, Tim Sale,
Tim Sale, good choice.
and it comes in front in the Long Halloween. I mean,
He made me love
goddamn! If
Batman.
let's start off with the cover.
Oh my God, it's
I mean,
gorgeous.
if I can hold this right, yeah, there we go. I mean,
Oh, look at that.
that is one ominous anti-hero if I've ever done seen one. Like if you're walking down the alleyway and this guy comes up, you're not thinking, "Oh, thank God it's the Dark Knight. I'm not going to get mugged or raped down here." You're thinking, "Oh, seriously, this guy's going to eat my heart and tell my kids that he's going to kill them." That's what I'm
Yeah,
getting from him.
yeah. He does not look like the good guy.
He's not the good guy, but at the same time, he does such a good job of then showing emotion of Batman. So,
And he does
and
it in
more
a
lighting.
silhouette, which is perfect
It's
because the
really
man.
shit camera work by Scott Weber here.
No, that's all right.
Yeah,
But I
but
mean, the way he draws his eyes in the
that's and
shadow.
that's and that's what I was trying to get at. There's a scene where Catwoman falls off a building,
Yeah,
and it's the only thing you see is Batman's dark face, his mouth, the slight pyramid of the nose, and his eyes. And the eyes express everything. He's shouting,
yeah,
"Catwoman, no!" and his eyes are up. They're clearly worried and scared for
yeah,
Catwoman. And that's what he does such a good job of is just taking that limited space and color and making the most of the negative space. And it's just like how you talk about with the white space. I mean, there's scenes in here where he's not even drawing Batman's distinctive outline. It's him in Gordon's office against the shades, and it gives you that feeling that he's just walking out of the shadows.
yeah,
He is the night. Like, he's part of the shades because he does such a good job of showing them across the window. But when they go into Batman, it's not him in front of them. It's he's a part of them. He's blocking out the light, and he is the Dark Knight, and that's what epitomized the Dark Knight for me. That's who I think of. I think Dark Knight comic books. I think Tim Sales, high pointed ears. Very dark, very almost villainous
yeah,
appeal, and that negative space. The use of dark and knowing when to draw and when not, when to let the panel have its own
yeah,
is so old hat and old hand. Like that comes with years. And you can
yeah,
tell that comes through with Tim Sale. It's just he knows what he's doing. He knows when to put the gun down. It's harder to know when not to shoot than it is to shoot.
yeah.
And I think that comes the forefront with him. I loved it. And then, I mean, his villains in that. Two Face is this
Oh my
jagged, messed
God.
up. He looks like someone just held his head to like a rough
Sander.
grit, yeah, rough grit sander, and just went. I mean, you
And the
got
pinks of it and the purples.
yeah, which really brings it. It's not where I talk about um, with what's his name,
Murphy.
Murphy. Murphy's got these really strong lines, and it's all that, but it's also and it's very
Hard
graphic,
edge.
and it gives you very realistic. That is so comic book gory This I mean, is so comic book gory. You're not gonna hide this from kids.
No.
It'll scare them a little bit, but it won't be like, oh, that's disgusting. Those are pustules. This is blood. This is
Well, you know the
something.
difference between Murphy and Sale? Murphy uses a hard edge ink tip pen. Sale uses a brush.
And there you go, and that's where you get it. And
Yeah.
that's I think why you see more of a use of colors than lines.
Yes.
And
Oh, and the blending and the use, the economy of color.
oh
That
wow,
is,
how long you been holding that one in?
I was about to say, that's like 2D, 3D 101. That's the first thing you learn. This is the economy of color and the use of line and the economy of line. Like anytime you say economy of anything, that's like an art word. I just got your text.
Yeah. Um,
No.
but yeah, no, I mean you're still not wrong. Economy of color. I mean, yeah, and that's something you really get the contrast between the two artists, and I think that's a great way to distinguish, what you're looking for.
Yeah. All right, moving on to writers. You got your three?
Yeah, but I'm a man because I would just do him, and him every time, but I wish I could split them because I really only have two,
Oh, that's all right.
um, and they're kind of tied because I love them. But I get back to I love fucked up shit.
Oh,
Like when it
no.
comes to comic books, like I watch horror movies. I love Mindhunter. I want to see dark shit. I don't know what it is. I think it's the fact that I don't get that type of fear from anywhere else in the world. Fear in the real world is um, impending pain, physical pain. You don't want to experience pain. So like that's what fear is. Like, oh God, the car's
Yeah,
coming. I'm scared. It's not I'm scared of this like supernatural car. It's I'm scared I'm gonna get hit and break my leg. It's gonna really hurt. That's everything in the real world. Everything in the real world can be broken down to how bad is this gonna hurt. And that's why I'm
yeah,
scared of it. Like even when it comes to like fear of consequence. Oh my God, am I gonna go to jail? Well, why are we scared of jail? Because you're stuck in a pen and you might get killed by someone or it just sucks.
yeah.
How
And
boring
not in
is
a
it going
good
to be?
way.
Yeah. So uh, that brings me to Remender, Rick Remender.
Remender, he's your boy.
He is my boy. He nails it all the time. He is just what he's done. I mean, I love Low, and that's a perfect example of just fuck.
Oh,
That is dark. That's
and speaking
so
of low, you brought up in Tokyo, the main bad guy is getting his willy snozzed on.
yeah.
The first time I opened, you sent me load earlier this year. I open it up to a random page, and he's like, You're interrupting me in the middle of my suckfest. What's the matter
Yeah.
with you?"
Yeah.
So,
So it's
are
another
you just
just
reading willy sucking books,
yeah.
or?
Well, I actually go online to willysuckingcomicpanels.com and it gives you
Oh,
all.
really?
It's like
Trademark?
nudity in film, where they just give you the minutes of where the boobs are, and I just get the panels and pages in my issues where the dick sucking's going on.
That is probably a profitable
Guys,
t-shirt
just
company.
cut to the chase. You just want to see some Willy working.
You
Willy
cut to
Wonka's factory.
427, bam, full frontal.
Man,
Then
let me
you
just
cut till 58:29, and then bam. But no,
but
tell me about Remender.
Remender is just so good at painting these dark, dark worlds, setting the tone for something that feels real though. One of my favorite. It's a standalone. It's Witches. I don't know if you have it by you, Matt. I sent it up to you,
Hmm.
and it is just this
Hmm. It's on my
lore-rich.
bookshelf.
Yeah, it's fine. Um, Pretty much, it's just this. You know, family moves to town. Turns out town is a cult that sacrifices up people to these ethereal, earthy witches that aren't like witches you've known before. They're not broomstick riders. They're not cauldron,
No.
mixers. They don't have your standard toil and trouble. They are these ancient gods, almost
Yeah.
demigods. that live in the trees. They are Earth. They are everything, and they have this fucking pact going with the town, where hey, you get marked. That's our meat. I want that meat.
Yeah.
And it's painting this world of betrayal, and at the same time, just like taking away hope. And he does such a good job with that. And I mean, you can see it in everything he writes. I mean, Lowe, he talks about why he writes these depressing characters and why it was so hard for him to write the main character of Lowe. Remender suffers from depression,
Yeah.
and he goes into it on Lowe, and he says, it's his gift and his curse, and that's
Hmm.
why Lowe is such an interesting tackle for him, because the main character is this undefeatedly optimistic bubble of hope. And it was such a difficult task for him, and you could see that come to light. Like when he writes that character, you can tell it stands out from the others, because this is not someone that Rick can easily write. You look at Deadly Class; it's all depression.
Oh my God, yeah, dude.
Everyone can kind of blend together. Deadly Class is what it is. I loved it. I couldn't read too much of it because it just was gut wrenching.
I was about to say, like, you sent me one. I was just like, dude, what the? Do you
It's
need
just
a hug?
depression. It's just
Yeah.
straight depression, and I think that's where Lowe kind of pops for Remender,
Yeah.
because out of nowhere, here comes optimism.
Yeah.
This main character will not be beaten. She will not be trodden on. You cannot tread on me. I'm gonna fucking win. And I think that's. I mean, and then to get back, I mean, here let's tie it in with Jeremy Pena, Seven to Eternity. Same deal. It's him fighting optimism, and that's Remender. He does such a good job. And then, I mean, you get down to the brass tacks of writing. The stories are just great. Dialogue's good. It's witty. He knows how to incorporate some humor, but at the same time, he's just driving good storyline.
Yeah, he's
Dark,
chopping it up.
yeah, just good dark storyline, continuous. It doesn't feel loose. It doesn't feel like he's missing out on things or he doesn't answer questions as you're going along. He is solid plot, just good plot, like Jennifer
Yeah.
Lawrence. Just good plot. Two sets of plot. Shout out
Oh
J
yeah.
Law.
So for
Sorry,
me,
movies suck.
what up?
I said I'm sorry her movies suck, but I'm still a fan.
Whose movie sucked?
J Law, Jennifer Lawrence.
Jennifer Lawrence. Eh,
Yeah,
eh.
like yeah.
She actually, ever since whatchamacallit, the dance movie with Bradley Cooper,
Silver Linings Playbook.
ever since then, she's less and less
They
with me.
support a good football team in that movie, though. I can't put my finger on
I
it,
was
but
at that game. I was
yeah,
at that game.
yeah,
I
of
was at
that
that game.
that team, yeah, that team.
Yeah. Go sports. Sports teams. Yay.
Sports score all the points. Out
Sports
score.
ball.
Love sports
All
ball.
right, moving on.
Hit
My
us.
I want to give a shout out to James Titan the Fourth. He's writing Detective Comics right now. He's killing it. I'm not going to put him in my top three because I haven't read enough of all of his work.
Okay.
But his one shot on the Batman Who Laughs is so friggin' good. Imagine Batman becoming the Joker. All right? But the way he becomes the Joker is it's an alternate dark universe where the Joker has Batman and he chains him down. And he's like, I'm going to do to you the one reason you're Batman. He and then it shows like a widescreen. Everybody's dead in the entire world except parents and their children. You look down the alleyway in Crime Alley. There is a little girl and her two parents, and the Joker has a gun. He shoots the parents, and he talks to the little girl, "You're saved." Next, the entire alleyway is full of parents and their one child. So he keeps shooting the parents, and then next, he literally goes through like 100 pairs of parents. That's how dark this guy can be, Jason Titan the Fourth. But he's so good at writing teen books. He's writing Detective Comics right now. He actually wrote the crossover between Batman and the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So I was in for that just because I love pizza. But all right. So shout out to you, James. You're amazing. But my number three, Jason Aaron. Jason Aaron is the dude. He's a good old Southern boy. I was introduced to him on Unworthy Thor, and so imagine Thor without Mjolnir, and he's unworthy. He's drunk, going around the cosmos, fighting people and getting his ass kicked because he can't fight and he's drunk, and he can't fly, so he rides a goat in space. And he's just trying to become worthy again, but he's a piece of shit. But the growth of the character in it is fantastic. The way he writes, you could definitely tell that he's a wrestling fan because he's really good with the like there's conflict between a good guy and a bad guy, but really the only way they can settle it is fighting. Or with unworthy Thor, stop being a piece of shit and the people will root for you. Like they're rooting for you to be good. Then I read more of his stuff. I read his Scalped. That's basically like mafia meets Indian reservation with drunk Indians in a casino out on a reservation.
Now you've said that's a lot like Game of Thrones. That's the
I mean, there's so like there's family. I don't want to give a lot away, but it's just first of all the setup's charged. Second of all, it's just he can write nitty gritty, down to earth, or he can write like he can make human problems with characters like Thor, who literally is a god, but he can make them have relatable human problems. Oh, he's an alcoholic who needs to get his shit together. Yeah, he's trying not to be a bad person.
He literally lost his job.
He literally lost jobs. He lost it to a woman. Ah!
Yeah, that friend from work, doesn't know him anymore. He got fired. You know, it's kind of awkward now seeing each other in the hallway.
Yeah, I saw him. He was eating ramen outside of 7-Eleven.
Yeah, dude, Thor's
riding a space goat.
Asking me for $1.50 to buy Hurricane Hang Grab. You know,
yeah, he ate a burrito. He didn't even heat it up.
he just ate it, man.
He just ate that shit.
I'm pretty sure I saw him eating a bird.
He's shit in the parking lot. But no, Jason Aaron, he's just really he can make anything relatable. He also did a run on Wolverine. I'm in the middle of reading that. The thing with Jason Aaron, the art can be hit or miss, but when he writes, I'm buying. I'm very simple. I'm a simple man. Anytime I see Jason Aaron, I buy it. All right, who do you got for your number one?
All right, my number one, I got to do a quick correction. I think it's because I got caught up in the two. Witches is originally written by my number one, not Rick Remender. So I got to make the correction before people brutalize me in the comments. Yeah. Don't do it. I'll disable them, or Matt will, or we won't, because I'll just handle it like a man.
Scott Take Snyder, it on the chin. Scott Snyder, good choice.
I think it's because he also, I mean, Witches is just so, it feels like Rick Remender. They do a lot of good things in that they're both dark as hell.
Yeah.
Scott Snyder does a great thing with Batman. And one of the reasons why I love him is I loved the New 52 Batman, especially Court of Owls. I thought that was such a good introduction of a new but feels old bad guy.
Yeah.
He wrote the Owls perfectly. He didn't put too much on them, but he put enough in that you didn't feel like they were simple. The history he wrote into it where it was, you know, they've been around the whole time, and you actually could just flow into it.
Yeah.
You never heard of these guys before, but for some reason you're like, holy shit, I feel like if I went back into the other Batmans, I'd see traces of the Owls. Yeah.
They're there.
Which he gives you that feeling. And he does it flawlessly because, you know, if someone else had just been like, oh, yeah, these Owls have been around since centuries, and it's like, okay, man, slow your roll. Other people have written it. I don't think Frank was writing this and going, yeah, by the way, besides the mutants, there's fucking Owls over there.
They're right there, man. They're right behind you.
Yeah.
Woo! They're not there.
Yeah, Witches, I've already gone over how much I love it, how dark it is, and I think that's why I glazed over it. So apologies again. Also, I love, there's another book called American Vampire, which is my guilty pleasure, but it's also, he has a team up with Sean
Snyder, right?
What?
That's early Snyder, right?
Yeah, well, it's been going on for a while, man.
Oh, it's ongoing. I didn't know that.
I think it came to an end. I mean, it's just this aging epic of this one piece of shit. Hate to love him, love to hate him. Vampire, who has just been going through since he started off as this outlaw cowboy Skinner Sweet, and he just became the new American vampire breed, and he is just an asshole in every sense of the word. Just when you think he's gonna have that redeeming moment, he ruins it.
Yeah.
It's Loki. You've become so predictable in betraying me that it's gonna happen, and everyone starts to bite on it.
Yeah.
You constantly it's just like, oh man, this is going too well. He's working with everyone too well. Bam, there's a betrayal, but it doesn't feel overplayed.
Yeah.
It's like a good sitcom, you know, but with great story and like this arc of also other characters that he's not really the focus. He's like your Kramer coming in.
Oh
You
God.
know what you're gonna get, but you love it every time. You know you're gonna
Yep.
get the big door open. You're gonna see some big
Ah.
animated shit. Like, okay, Jerry, that's what this guy does. He's a great repetitive character that, even though it may not feel at times like he is your protagonist, he's not necessarily not your protagonist. And I know that sounds weird and stupid to say, but if you read the books, you'll understand why I'm getting at it. Because he really does start off as the centerpiece, and then he kind of splits, and the book keeps going, and he keeps coming back and
Interweaving with it.
yeah, snaking in and out, and you never know when you're going to see him. But then at times you never know when he's going to go away. And I really loved that story. I mean, obviously it has its weak points. I think there's 8 trades of it now. Anytime
Jesus.
you throw that much volume at something, you're going to have some downtime.
Yeah, I
But
mean, like my little brother said, second season of one of the greatest shows ever on TV was whatchamacallit?
The Wire,
Yeah, the Wire. There's a few seasons that just aren't as good.
yeah, there's 2 seasons of The Wire. It's amazing, and then season 3 and season 4 just boom, goes
And
back
then
to
season 5, bam.
yeah mediocrity. And
Yeah,
I think
you're gonna have that.
Scott Snyder has done such a great job for such a long time of just avoiding mediocrity. Everything he puts his pen to
He
has just
always tries something different.
yeah, and you have to give him credit. I mean, for him to take on a new Batman and to try and pen, I think one of the best new villains yet. I don't think got enough credit. Everyone trashed the new 52. Everyone thought that was kind of weak.
Well, because the new 52 itself sucked. I would say
Yeah,
his run on Batman was pretty damn good.
yeah,
But
that's
what
what
he's
I'm at.
doing now with Metal, oh my God.
Goddamn girl,
He's really good at hitting
girl with
on
your weave.
he's really good at hitting on the history of a character
And yeah, and that's
because he
exactly.
knows, he reads.
Yeah,
He
he
knows.
he's got the background. I mean, it's that sense. Like, I mean, it's again to beat a dead horse, and I'm gonna beat it with a stick. Court of Owls. He gives you the history. He knows Batman. He knows that you guys know Batman, so he's not gonna. He knows the history of him. He knows where to fit these in. He knows where there's some spaces, which Batman is
Just
as dense.
enough.
Yeah, Batman's as dense as it gets when it comes to history books. You can barely
Oh,
fit an index card in, but there he goes. He slips in and you go, "Whoa, could I have seen the owls before?"
and one of the pitfalls of Batman, everybody has their own Batman.
Yeah,
And everybody will be Batman wouldn't do that. Batman wouldn't say that. Oh, Batman doesn't use guns. Oh, Batman doesn't kill. Batman wouldn't do that. He's the way he plays Batman. It's not that it appeases or goes towards everybody's Batman, but people would believe enough that yeah, a Batman would do that. I could
yeah,
see that.
and it's his own take. It is a unique take on Batman. It's something a little bit different. His Bruce Wayne is a little different. I mean, he goes with this high
He's
crop.
younger. He's
He's
younger.
younger, and he's got that that fade. He's got
Yeah,
that
he's got
Romanian
like that
haircut.
little like
He's got
navy.
a jarhead. He's got Punisher. He has the
Yeah,
Punisher haircut,
yeah. Well,
and
because he views himself as a warrior in the fight against crime.
yeah, and he's straight business. So when that gets grown out, you can. It actually does a great job. Credit to Greg Capullo. Shout out to that guy.
Shout out to that dude. He's killing it on Metal Red, by the way.
Yeah, dude, he's got some great work, and he does a good job of illustrating what Scott gets at with aging this guy, and his facial features, and just like anyone else, the more time he spends on something, and he forgets about the maintenance, the grooming, and Batman gets lost in the owl's maze, and he just gets haggard, and you can
Oh, he
tell
gets the
he's
shit kicked out.
yeah,
The scene where he's like, ah,
yeah,
and
and
his like
he
one
doesn't
eye's
know if he'll ever
open.
get out. And
Let me take
Scott
a
writes
cough
this
medicine real quick.
beautiful. He writes him into this corner, and he's just like, and then Capullo does this great job of tagging in and going, yeah, let's show that. Let's show Batman just at wit's end. He's never really
Oh,
been
he's
here.
dead.
Joker takes him to his edge emotionally, but this is like mental frying. It's studying for 6 finals on a Friday, and you haven't even looked at your books yet.
Oh, and the best part is you learn you have an exam that you never knew you had.
Yeah, in a class.
That's what it is. Yeah, you were studying for the English class, but then you're like, I have a math exam. He's good.
And that's where he does a good job. And when you pair him up with someone that can draw for him,
yeah,
like I think, that is something that really, I mean, obviously it's valued and it's talked about, but when you get a good pairing, Jeff Loeb, Tim Sale on Long Halloween, Snyder Capullo, the Killing Joke, the famous one, Alan Moore, and Brian Boland. It makes for magic, and then you can see what happens when one's lacking. You look at some of the other Batmans out there. The writing can be good, but the art's a little weak.
Yeah.
Or vice versa, where it's like, man, the art's so cool. The story.
Perfect example. All-Star Batman with Jim Lee and Frank Miller. Jim Lee draws one of the best Batman books of all time, but Frank Miller went crazy.
Yeah. Frank
what do you think? What are you, some kind of retard? I'm the goddamn Batman. Retard kid.
Losing his shit.
Whenever I read that book, I like to say that's not Batman, that's Crazy Steve, who stole his suit. And he's just driving around for 15 hours with Dick Grayson, age 12.
Just losing his mind. Who's your, did we do your number one?
My number two and my number one. Well, I had three. But since we're talking about Batman, let's keep it Batman. I'm going to say my number two writer of this year is Tom King. That guy is killing it.
He paid you off.
He paid off with his... I talked about it, Mr. Miracle, with Mitch Gerards. He's number two because he's now writing the adjectiveless Batman, which is just the Batman title. I will say, and I've met him in person twice, and he agreed with me. He kind of had a rough start in the first couple issues of Batman. David Finch was drawing it. I was sold on that. But then when he got into the I Am Suicide, you would, like you said, you enjoy dark, somber, depressing things. I do. But
you don't need to convince me. Convince yourself.
Convince yourself. Do you really? Do you? But like,
Sean.
Well, when I was reading that, I kind of wasn't in a good mental place myself. I wasn't ready to read something depressing like that.
You don't want to do that.
No. I'm better, dude. 200 days, dude. 200 days of healthy living. This is over a year ago. But what I'm saying is, like, I was a little depressed myself, and then I read, first of all, the title of it is I Am Suicide, and I'm just like, probably not the best thing to read. And then, but once I got through it, and I got more attuned to Tom King's writing, and also meeting the guy is literally one of the nicest people you ever met, and he'll genuinely tell you straight up.
He'll generally pay you off to say this. I think this is a paid advertisement for Tom King. Just going to go ahead and say that.
Well, I'm just saying, I gave him a drawing. He gave me $5. Cough, cough. But no, like, when I first met him, he was arguing with a guy if Batman wore socks or not. You know, right there, that is a comic book room. That is a comic store argument. That is a nerd argument, and you know this guy cares. All right, let's have this argument. Does Batman wear socks?
I don't think so.
What do you think he wears?
I think he just wears his...
like an undersuit, like an Under Armour pulley up thing?
I think his suit is just that so high tech and designed that you just put it on like a wetsuit.
The guy
Yeah, I
had
don't
the
think he
art.
wears underwear. I think he just gets in.
Really? Oh, he just goes raw. He
Yeah,
just goes
raw
raw
dog.
right into the
You know what I
batsuit.
mean?
Like
He's
the
got
dude
to
was making the argument that uh, in order to keep stress on his muscles, he wears like an Under Armour like onesie kind of thing,
kind of like what pilots have when they.
kind of like what pilots have. That was his argument. But then Tom King says, yeah, but then he puts on bat socks for cushioning because I was in the CIA, and whenever you wear those boots, you're gonna want to have good fucking socks.
Yeah, but here's my argument to that.
Oh shit.
Ba- Batman's beyond comfort. Batman doesn't give a damn about comfort.
Yeah, but no, no, no. It's not about comfort. It's also about support. Would you want to sprain your ankle
You
trying to
think he
save a
hasn't
little
built
girl?
that? You think he hasn't built that into his boots? I mean, we're talking about a guy who whole being is just functionality. I mean, like, look, the famous
Yeah.
line is, "Do you even like what is it? I'm not Bruce Wayne. I'm Batman."
Yeah.
That was such a Batman thing to say. That's because I'm Batman.
Batman
Like
is his
this
self.
guy isn't. Look, I'd almost say it's almost the opposite way around. Does Batman wear socks when he's Bruce Wayne?
Yeah.
Yes,
Well,
because that's part of the costume. I think he's so much Batman that when he puts it on, that's him putting on his real skin.
like
So
with
I think
Rorschach saying, "Give me back my face."
yes, so I don't think he puts on socks because I think socks rob him of
What
getting.
if
I
they have
think
bat symbols on
that's
them?
the suit, Venom esque.
What if they have bat symbols on them? Bat socks. Oh, because you know he wears bat boots. There's little bats on his feeties.
Yeah, because when you're stepping in blood and leaving your prints, you want people to know who the fuck just stomped you out.
There's a new symbol in the prison. It's a death sentence. The bat symbol. Fuck you, Snyder. Zack Snyder. He should not be named. But no, the reason I love Tom King, he made me feel comfortable with feeling uncomfortable in a good way. And like with Mr. Miracle, holy smokes, he writes the shit out of that. Like there's um there's a scene in it where Mr. Miracle is the son of the Allfather, but the Allfather gave him to Darkseid as a peace offering. So Darkseid raises this kid in literally hell his entire life, and his magic power is that he can escape anything. But in reality, Darkseid's letting him escape, but he's really stuck in this box. He's like talking about his childhood. Oh yeah, Christmas. I love Christmas. Um, we would be told this one Christmas story in the pits of hell about the Holocaust and this little kid who said his family was saving Jewish so this little kid was family was hiding Jewish kids um, or Jewish people in his basement, and then like he goes to school and the teacher's like, what is this? This is a basement. What's in the basement? Jewish people. And then he's like, oh yeah, and then by the way, the next day the kid comes home, the Jewish people are gone. The next day the SS takes his family. The next day they're all dead. And I'm like, holy shit, what? Like I probably butchered that because I'm not a speaker, I'm a drawler. But just read Mr. Miracle. That's him. Also him on Vision. Vision. Read his Vision. Read Sheriff of Babylon. It's basically the Iraq War through the eyes of people on the ground. It's kind of based on reality. It's kind of not. He can't really tell because he was in the CIA. So, wrapping it up, Tom King makes me feel comfortable reading uncomfortable things. And he's also really funny because things like that. You look tired. I'm tired too. So we want
I
to
need to
wrap
hear
this up.
number one. We got to hear
You got to hear number one. All right, my number one, 2017, Kyle Starks. Do you know who Kyle Starks is?
Give me a refresher.
Sex Castle
You're sexy. Wow, that's winning for you.
of
You bring up gold.
2017. Of
Okay.
2017. I know
Okay.
this book wasn't written in 2017, but this is my guilty pleasure of 2017. It's
I
called Dead
mean,
of Winter.
come on, it's super dog with a samurai sword killing zombies.
All right, so there's zombies. There's a dog with superpowers, and he has a katana, and he saves people from the
It's
zombies.
Pacific Rim ideology, man.
No, 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 no.
No. Hear my explanation.
Okay.
Not because it's not more elaborate or better written than Pacific Rim, but it's tell me you don't want to see fucking massive robots fighting aliens.
Oh
Go
no,
ahead
no.
and lie to yourself. Oh, I'm better than reading about a dog with a katana killing zombies.
Oh no, you're not.
Are you better? Are you
Are
better
you,
than that?
sir? Do you not like having fun? You're why we can't have nice
Exactly.
things.
So please, Matt, tell us why we would like to have fun with them.
All right. When I first saw this book, I was like, what the fuck is this kid's book? I open it up. There's F bombs every other fucking page. Love it. He's hilarious. Also, Sex
Says
Castle.
F bomb, then says every other fucking page. Guy, he's clearly
I'm
not listening.
inconsistent. It's 2 in the morning. That's okay. But Sex Castle, it's literally every 80s movie ever made with Roadhouse and Snake Plissken on top of them, mixed with just
Roadhouse.
just read the book. He's so funny that Rick and Morty let him do whatever he wants on their comics, which are better than the show. But I'm probably gonna get hate for that. But nonetheless,
You
also,
clearly have a low IQ.
my IQ is not high enough. But quick shout out to Jeff Johns, Doomsday Clock. There's one line in this book that it's literally the American dream's dead. We gave a straight razor to a 5-year-old. That line just blew my freaking mind. And where this is going, I have no idea. But Rebirth is in good hands as long as this keeps doing what it's doing, because it introduces new characters. It continues the Watchmen in a good way. Holy balls, love it. So, yeah.
Before we leave a little teaser for these people. Matt, give me
Teaser.
your top three Batman villains.
Top 3 Batman villains: Kite Man, uh, Kite Man.
Okay.
No, I'm just saying that because Tom King. Oh, another thing I love about Tom King, because he's such a well-versed nerd. He brings obscure characters like Kite Man into the forefront and makes them a noir character, and I loved him for that. But my top 3: number 1, obviously Mr. J. Number 2, I really have a soft spot for Clayface, but he's not my number 2. He's my
Wow.
number 3. But Mr. Freeze.
Okay, going with the classics.
Oh, Mr. Freeze.
I
Because
mean,
I love the animated series. And, like, literally the first animated series episode I ever watched was To Go on a Cold
who's your
Winter's
Joker?
Night. Huh?
Who's your Joker?
Oh, Mark Hamill's the voice I hear in my head.
Yeah, every time I read.
If it's not Mark Hamill's voice,
Even the animated series is just everything they did right.
yeah.
Just the way the Joker looks, his voice. God, the famous IRS skit.
Yeah, he's just like, crazy I am. Fight with the IRS? No, thank you. Ooh. He's so but like another thing, he's so menacing, but not once does he kill a single person.
Yeah,
No,
no,
because
that's
it's a children's show. You can't kill people, but you
no,
can
no.
fuck them up.
Oh, you can fuck them up real good.
Ooh, you
Makes him
could
question.
mutilate people without killing them, which is frightening. More frightening. I'd say it's more frightening than some things. But yeah. Who's your top 3 Batman
Well,
villains?
I'm gonna throw a curveball and say Mr. J is my number one.
Oh, shocker.
Spoiler: it's not a curveball, you idiot. Um, Number two, for me, it's got to be the Penguin. Uh,
Really?
yeah,
He's low on
I
my list.
yeah, it's just something about how he's the original six hockey.
True. I'll
He's
give you that.
he is what like when he's done right, and I mean Danny fucking DeVito.
Ah, he bites the nose.
Horrifying to this day. If you
Yeah.
don't think that Penguin is one of the scariest motherfuckers, and I'm including any Joker, Danny DeVito's Penguin is haunting. Haunting.
Yeah, because he's
The
real.
black
He is
ooze,
real.
the
He is
black
real.
ooze, the fucking those PJ suits. He just looks gross. Ah, Cobblepot. Um,
Who's your
Number
number three?
3, Court of Owls, man. The Owls. Really,
Ah, ooh.
I'm gonna stay strong. I'm gonna stay consistent with my night tonight, and I'm gonna end with them. I mean, I just it's not often you get a change up. Yeah, we can have Harley Quinn. She's great, but she's also been back and forth on good and
Do
bad.
you view her as a villain?
I view her as a non um, bias or just
I view her as a tweener.
yeah. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, I don't think she. I think she straddles the line. Nice.
Hey,
Uh,
Margot,
she's
call me.
she's Catwoman without fully committing to good. Because Catwoman, I view as a hero.
Yeah,
Catwoman is firmly in the court of good, but I think she's the step back from Catwoman.
she could be naughty, but she's not bad. Like, I like it when Poison Ivy is written as a person, I'm doing good things, but if you mess with me, I will murder all of you. And I
Yeah,
can, but I'm
and then
not.
I mean,
Just leave me alone. That's like what she's. I like it when she's written like that. Leave me alone. I'm doing stuff.
and Poison Ivy, Scarecrow. These are other OG sixes, but they're not as good. There's something like Scarecrow is just. I think he's written best when he's a goon, when he's kind of a crony. I don't think Scarecrow
I
can take the weight sometimes. I mean, they've tried to put full stories on him. I don't like them. I don't think Scarecrow really has it in him.
he's
Riddler
not
is an honorable mention for me.
who
The Riddler.
the Riddler is such. He's.
He's an honorable mention.
I just
What is
don't
it? I
like him.
think. God, it's
Jim
another.
Carrey, R.I.P.
Yeah, yeah, mentally, right?
Ugh.
But yeah, I mean, talk
And
about another perfect demonstration of when you can just portray someone so well because he is just
but
wow.
oh, you think?
Yeah.
Who? Ooh, oh, I like it when Killer Croc in um. No, that wasn't him. No, that was in Hellboy. I always imagine Killer Croc as like no, it was in Batman Arkham City. You go under into the sewers and you go in this random one and you run into Killer Croc and you're just like, ah, and he's like, ugh, and you look at each other. He's just like, yeah, I'm just hiding down here. Uh,
Yeah, he's
I
got
don't,
that whole I'm just trying to survive.
I'm just, I'm not here. I'm not gonna fight you. There's a scene in Hellboy where they find this like huge hideous monster and he's like, roar, and then he starts breathing. He's like, "Hi, my name's Daryl." And then like Hellboy like points a gun and then lowers the gun. He's just like, "Oh, hi, Daryl."
It's that classic cop looking the other way because you're not
Yeah,
really.
he's just yeah.
Hey, you're kind of a bad guy, but you're hanging out down here.
Hey, stop that.
Solomon Grundy,
Solomon Grundy when he's
same type of. Well, it depends on who's writing it, but Solomon Grundy has the same thing going on. He's in the sewers. He doesn't want to be bothered. I mean, oh man, who? God, I cannot put my finger on it right now. Which issue I was just reading. Same thing where they're like, wait, why is Solomon Grundy coming out? Because he's been chilling. No one's
yeah.
messing with him. And the
Well,
next thing
like
you know,
people can mute because he's a zombie. People can use him
manipulate.
as
Yeah.
like a battering ram, and he's like, "I
Mhm.
don't want to do this, but you're using me." And
Yeah.
that's another thing about Batman's villains. Like a lot of them are reluctant villains. That's why Mr. Freeze to me is
Think
the
about
second greatest villain because he's literally trying to save his wife.
Two Face is literally Harvey Dent fighting with this evil the other guy.
Yeah,
Harvey Dent
the
is the
bad
white
guy.
knight. Yeah, Harvey Dent's the white guy, but that other side that just he's
And he's
losing to
there for
nonsense.
real.
Because Two Face doesn't want Harvey Dent doesn't want to be the bad guy, but Two Face is one of the best bad guys. And another honorable mention. I mean,
Do
but
you like it? Snyder in All Star Batman now is writing that Harvey and um, Bruce were childhood friends. Do you like it that they knew each other before, or do you like it that they had no interaction? Like in The
you
Long
know,
Halloween,
I
they
think
know
it's a
each other.
dangerous. I think that's a dangerous game you play when you give Bruce too many childhood connections. I think
Or at
something.
least pre-existing pre-villain.
Yeah, you got to be careful when it comes to Bruce because it gets to a point where if you know him too long, you're going to notice patterns with Bruce. And I like the idea of Bruce is this pissed off kid that just couldn't connect with the world.
Yeah.
But as Batman, that's how he does. So he doesn't get the social side. He's not living like this happy life, but he does find some sort of satisfaction of interaction with the outside world by being Batman and helping. And that
Yeah.
is what allows him to maintain this facade of Bruce. But if you give Bruce God, and again I'm blanking.
Hush.
Hush is perfect. They do it well in Hush, where the guy knew him growing up, they're best friends, but um, they didn't elaborate too much. They just said that this kid's a best friend.
Well,
He,
with that, they talk about the inherent good and the inherent evil. Tommy
yeah,
is inherently evil, hence why he
yeah,
wants to kill his parents.
and which I mean, it's the cover art. You
And
have
they're
these
tweeners. They're split.
mirror images, and it's one going one way and the other one went the other way, and it's
They both started from the same thing, and they both went good and bad.
yeah, um, yeah. It's perfect. I loved Hush. I also love the dynamic that they played with Catwoman and Batman.
Yeah.
You realize it toys at you, it plays at your heartstrings. Like, oh, finally, they'll just be happy together. And then you're like, oh,
And yeah, I'll make this the final thing. Tom King is doing that now in his Batman run, and I'm really liking it. Where they blatantly ask Batman, "Are you happy?" And he's like, "I'm Batman, but
yeah,
I'm working on it," and that's good.
yeah. You sent me those panels.
Yeah, and
And
I'm just like, holy shit! Like that's what Bruce would say, and
I
not
think
just Bruce, but the Batman.
myself, I find to be, God, I'm a sucker for a little bit of a romantic. I'm a little bit of a romantic at heart, and you root for him to get the girl. Like
Yeah,
the last James Bond when he drives off with the hot blonde. I'm like, okay, can we not kill her
finally.
this time? Can we just like let's retire Daniel Craig's Batman so I can just know in my head that he got it, he's fine, he's living his life, and not fucking kill her in the next movie in the beginning, going, oh yeah, by the way, she's dead, which is
Oh,
what.
she's a fembot. She was a
Yeah,
robot the entire
yeah,
time.
which like, oh, don't rip my balls off and then put them in my
Da,
heart, and
da,
it's just
da.
like it's just oh god, like I thought I was happy. Like let just end the arc, start a new Batman, let him have
Yeah,
Batman.
but I think I'm gonna say his name wrong. Kurt Vanyar. He said the best stories are usually where the characters are treated the worst. Batman gets the fucking gutter. Same with Daredevil, but Batman more than Daredevil.
God, man,
Yeah.
does it?
How do you write a Daredevil story? Step one, make Matt Murdock's life a living hell. Step
Yes,
two, repeat step one.
dude, Daredevil Visionaries. Daredevil
Oh my
Visionaries.
god, you sent me that. I read it. I'm like, why? Leave him alone.
Oh
He's
my
a
God,
child.
let's kill his mom. Let's kill
Let's
his
kill his
love
girl.
interest. Let's
Let's
kill
kill
everyone.
everybody. Let's burn his house.
Let's go decimate the place that he found sanctuary of the church. Let's just
Boom.
ruin it. Let's
Here comes
ruin everything.
Bullseye. Ba 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 ba.
Oh, you thought he had a good relationship with?
Bullseye.
Yeah,
Bullseye. Fuck that guy.
I
Uh,
I
uh,
want Colin
uh,
Farrell to succeed, but God damn it, please don't ever touch another comic book movie again.
Bullseye. Oh, my hands. You took my hands. I'm Conor McGregor. Ooh, dee dee potatoes. All right. It's late. I'll see you tomorrow. Or I'll see you next week. You want to make this a Tuesday gig?
We will make this a Tuesday gig.
Tuesday gig. Comic Bros signing out. Episode 1, top threes. Thank you guys for staying. Scott, don't call him Snyder. Matt, man, comics. Thank you. Good night.